Welcome to our channel Book by Book, where we take complex ideas and strategic frameworks, especially, the ones really driving the digital world today, and we try to distill them into actionable knowledge for you.
And today, we're doing a summary of a really essential text, I think. It's Nir Eyal's Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products. He wrote it with Ryan Hoover. And look, this isn't just a manual for software developers. It's a pretty deep look at behavioral psychology in the context of design.
Absolutely. And you see this everywhere, right? The big puzzle in today's economy is attention, or the lack of it. Why do some products, think TikTok, maybe Slack, Duolingo, even certain games, why do they grab hold of us and become like daily habits? While other things, sometimes things with even better features, just fizzle out.
That's exactly the question Eyal tackles. His main point is that success often isn't about having the biggest marketing budget or, the fanciest tech. It's about weaving the product into the user's subconscious routine. If you're just relying on ads to pull people back, well, that gets expensive fast. You're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, constantly pushing. And what he lays out is this predictable pattern, a blueprint, really. He calls it the hook model. It's this repeatable loop, like a kind of behavioral architecture that companies can use to subtly shape our actions.
Exactly. It takes something that might start as a novelty, just a cool feature, and turns it into something you feel you need to do. The push comes from inside you, not from an outside reminder. It shifts from external prompts to internal drives.
So our goal today is pretty straightforward. We want to walk you through this four-part loop: trigger, action, variable reward, and investment. We'll kind of break down how each part works.
Right. And we'll also look at some other ideas he brings in, like the habit zone. And crucially, we need to talk about the ethics involved. Because let's be honest, this stuff is powerful.
Definitely. Understanding this model, it's a real strategic advantage. Doesn't matter if you're building something, marketing something, or even just trying to figure out your own relationship with your phone, right?
Totally. So let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this core engine, this four-step sequence. When companies get this right, it's how they can, engineer human habit. It turns someone just trying out your app into someone who uses it automatically every day.
And the neat thing about the hook model is how it reinforces itself.
Yeah.
Each time a user goes through the loop trigger, action, reward, investment, it makes the next cycle more likely. It's like conditioning. It helps automate the behavior.
Less thinking involved each time.
Exactly. Reduces that cognitive load, hashtag A, triggers the spark that lights the fire.
So it all starts with the trigger. This is the cue, right? The thing that prompts you to do something because you're expecting some kind of satisfaction. But Eyal makes a big distinction here. Not all triggers are the same.
Precisely. There are two types, and understanding this difference is, it's key to forming a real habit. At first, products have to rely on external triggers.
Okay, like what?
These are the obvious things. The notification that pops up on your phone, an email newsletter, maybe an ad you see online, or even just the app icon sitting there on your screen. They're tangible prompts, necessary at the beginning to kind of guide the user.
But those can be annoying or expensive, like you said. You pay for ads or you risk notification fatigue. So the real goal is?
The real goal is the shift to internal triggers.
Okay.
This is where it gets interesting.
Okay. So what's an internal trigger?
An internal trigger is tied to your emotions, your routines, or just a subconscious association. When the habit is really locked in, you act without even thinking about it. Why? Because the product has successfully linked itself to a recurring feeling, often a slightly negative one.
Negative feelings, like what?
HL is pretty clear on this. Often it's things like boredom, feeling uncertain, maybe loneliness, a bit of anxiety, or that classic fear of missing out, FOMO. These feelings become the subconscious cue.
Okay. So like you're standing in line at the grocery store, you feel a bit bored or awkward.
Exactly. And you don't get a notification saying, hey, open Instagram now. No,
Yeah.
That feeling itself, that little bit of boredom or social unease, that's the internal trigger. And almost automatically, your thumb just goes to that icon.
The external prompt isn't needed anymore.
Right. The product has basically built a little pathway in your brain. It connects that specific feeling with the immediate release the app provides.
Wow. So for designers, it's not just about sending alerts. It's about deeply understanding the user's internal state, their emotions.
Yes. And figuring out what recurring pain point your product actually solves.
Yeah.
If your app is for, say, filing taxes, that problem only comes up once a year. You're not going to build a strong internal trigger around that.
Right. Low frequency.
But if your product addresses something that fluctuates daily or even hourly, like the need for social connection or the desire to feel productive or just boredom, then you've got the fuel for this loop.
It's like Eyal uses an analogy, doesn't he, about fire?
He does, yeah. Think of external triggers like the match you use to light a fire. They get it started. But internal triggers are like the kindling and dry wood you've built up. Once they're there, the fire catches much more easily, almost on its own, whenever that internal spark happens.
So the most successful products, they eventually get rid of the matches.
They don't need them anymore. They rely on that base of kindling the internal triggers. Hashtag tag charge, hashtag B, action, making it easy to do.
Okay, so the trigger fire is internal or external. What's next in the loop?
Next up is the action. This is the simplest possible behavior the user does in anticipation of getting that reward. And here, Eyal leans heavily on work by B.J. Fogg, another behavioral scientist.
Fogg's behavior model, right? I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. The basic idea is that for a behavior, the action to happen, you need three things at the same time. Enough motivation, enough ability, and a prompt, which is our trigger.
Okay, motivation, ability, trigger. Makes sense.
Now, Eyal's big focus in this action phase is on the ability part. He argues that in today's world, with tiny attention spans and endless competition, the action just has to be incredibly simple, super easy to do.
Because if it's too hard, people just won't bother, even if they're motivated.
Well, high motivation can overcome high friction sometimes, but motivation waxes and wanes, right?
Yeah.
So you can't rely on it always being high. The most reliable path is to make the action require almost zero effort. Minimize the friction.
Friction, like too many clicks or a confusing layout.
Exactly. Too many steps, pages that load slowly, anything that makes the user have to stop and think too much. We're wired to conserve mental energy. Habits form around things that are easy.
So companies deliberately simplify things.
Absolutely. They strip down the number of steps, reduce the time it takes, cut out unnecessary thinking, make it socially acceptable. Think about Pinterest. Saving an image, it's one click, almost zero friction. They made organizing visual information incredibly easy.
But wait, isn't there a risk? If it's too easy, does the reward feel cheap, like you didn't earn it?
That's a good question. It's a bit subtle. Eyal would argue that for building habits, these frequent, low-effort behaviors, ease is paramount. You're not trying to build a habit around climbing Mount Everest. You're building it around scrolling a feed or tapping a like button. The simplicity ensures it happens repeatedly, almost automatically. The value comes from the reward that follows, especially its variability, which we'll get to.
Okay, so the action needs to be effortless.
Think of the action as a doorway to the reward. Good design makes that doorway really wide, brightly lit, maybe even automatic. No obstacles. If you made people struggle with a complicated sign-up or wait for slow loading, it's like slamming that door in their face just as they're about to walk through. Hashtag tag C, variable reward the uncertainty engine.
Right. So easy action performed, now the user gets the reward. But Eyal says it's not just any reward, this is the third stage, variable reward.
Yes, and this is where things get really fascinating from a psychological perspective. If a reward was the same every single time, predictable, well, we'd get used to it pretty fast. It would lose its appeal.
Like getting the same compliment every day.
Exactly. The novelty wears off. Eyal's key insight here, drawing a lot from B.F. Skinner's work on reinforcement schedules, is that the rewards need to change. They need to be unpredictable. That uncertainty is what really drives repeated behavior. It's the engine of compulsion.
Uncertainty. Why is that so powerful?
It taps into our brain chemistry, specifically the dopamine system. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure. It's heavily involved in seeking and anticipation. When a reward is variable, meaning you don't know exactly what you'll get, or when our dopamine system goes into overdrive in anticipation.
Ah, so it's the seeking that gets reinforced, not just the finding.
Precisely. The anticipation, the hunt, that's what delivers the dopamine hit. Every time you pull the lever on the slot machine or refresh your email inbox or scroll your social feed, you get that little spike of anticipatory dopamine before you even see the outcome. The variability keeps that seeking loop highly engaged. The reward itself is almost secondary to the thrill of maybe getting something good.
It's that what-if feeling. Maybe this time.
Totally. And Eyal breaks down these variable rewards into three main types, based on what human needs they satisfy.
Okay, what are they?
First, rewards of the tribe. This taps into our deep-seated need for social connection, acceptance, validation. Think about social media. You post something, you don't know who will like it, how many likes it'll get, what comments you'll receive, or even if anyone will respond. That unpredictability keeps you checking back constantly.
Makes sense. What's the second type?
Second, rewards of the hunt. This connects to our primal drive to seek out resources. In the modern world, this often means hunting for information, Interesting articles, funny videos, useful tips, maybe even deals or material possessions in some apps. Scrolling through a news feed like Twitter or a video feed like TikTok is pure information hunting. The variability is in the quality and relevance of what you find next. Keeps you scrolling.
Got it. Tribe, hunt, and the third.
Third is rewards of the self. These satisfy our internal drive for mastery, competence, control, and achievement. Finishing a task list in a productivity app, hitting a new level in a game, unlocking a badge on a fitness tracker. These give you a sense of personal accomplishment. And when these rewards are delivered somewhat unpredictably, it fuels that feeling of progress and competence.
So tribe, hunt, self. Social connection, resource info, and personal achievement. And the key is the variability in all of them.
Absolutely. The moment a product loses that variability, its magnetic pull weakens significantly. Think about email again. If you knew exactly what was in every single email before opening it, you check way less often. It's the maybe, the potential surprise, the uncertainty that keeps us hooked. The slot machine analogy is pretty spot on. You keep pulling the lever because you never know if the next reward will be big or small. Hashtag D, investment increasing the stakes.
Okay, trigger fired, easy action taken, variable reward received, or at least anticipated. What's the last step in this loop?
The final step, and this one is really crucial for making the habit stick long term, is investment. This is where the user actively puts something into the product.
Put something in, like what? Effort, data.
Yes, exactly. It could be time, data, effort, social capital, like building a following or inviting friends, or even money. And this investment is what makes the loop tighten and become self-reinforcing.
How does investing time or data make you more likely to come back?
Because you're building up what I'll call stored value within the product. Think about it. When you customize your profile, create playlists on Spotify, upload photos to Instagram, build a network on LinkedIn, or even just accumulate points in a loyalty program, you're storing value there.
Ah, okay. So you have more to lose if you leave.
Precisely. That stored value creates a sense of commitment. It raises the switching costs. If you spent years curating playlists on one music service, the thought of starting all over again on another one feels daunting. It creates a barrier to leaving.
Right. Like my LinkedIn profile, all that work history, the connections, moving that would be a huge pain.
Exactly. That's stored value in the form of data and social capital. Leaving means abandoning all that effort and history you've invested.
So investment isn't just about using the product. It's about improving it for yourself for the future.
Yes, that's a key point. Eyal emphasizes that good investment steps actually make the product better for the user the next time they use it. When you follow people, rate content, or provide preferences, you're tailoring the service. The more you invest, the more personalized and useful it becomes.
Which makes the next pass through the loop even more rewarding.
Right. It loads the next trigger more effectively. For instance, investing time in building your social network means you'll get more relevant rewards of the tribe next time. Investing data in preferences means you'll get better rewards of the hunt.
It's like that garden analogy you mentioned earlier, maybe.
Yeah, it fits well here. Investment is like planting seeds in your garden, maybe adding compost, watering them. Once you've put in that effort and things start to grow, you feel tied to that garden. You'll keep tending it because you've invested in it, you have sunk costs, and you want to see it flourish. That sense of ownership makes you stick around.
Okay, so that's the four-step loop. Trigger, action, variable reward, investment, TAVI. But like you said, just knowing the mechanism isn't enough. Eyal adds layers of context, right? Like figuring out if your product is even suited for this and the whole ethical dimension.
Absolutely. These are critical. Knowing how to build a habit isn't the same as knowing when or if you should. So Eyal gives us two important frameworks here, the habit zone and what he calls the manipulation matrix.
Think of them as guardrails.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
The hook model is the engine, right?
Yeah.
The habit zone tells you if you're on the right kind of track for that engine to work effectively. And the manipulation matrix is like the moral compass, the steering wheel to make sure you're driving responsibly. Hashtag A. The habit zone frequency meets utility.
Okay, let's start with the habit zone. What's the core idea there?
It's pretty straightforward, actually. Eyal argues that for a product to truly form a deep, automatic habit, it needs to operate in the habit zone. And this zone is found at the intersection of two things: how frequently the user needs the product and how much perceived utility or value they get from it.
Frequency and utility.
Okay, you can picture it like a simple chart. High frequency versus low frequency on one axis, high utility versus low utility on the other. For a habit to really take root, you generally need both high frequency and high perceived utility.
So if a product is used like only once a month,
Hmm.
even if it's useful.
It's probably outside the zone. It'll struggle to become an automatic habit, same if it's used often, but people don't find it very valuable or rewarding low utility. It might get used out of obligation for a while, but the habit will be weak.
Can you give some examples?
Sure, think about your email app or maybe a messaging app like WhatsApp. Most people use those multiple times a day, high frequency, and they provide significant value in communication, high utility.
Yeah.
They are firmly in the habit zone.
Okay, what's out of the zone?
Well, we mentioned the tax filing app earlier. Right. Super high utility when you need it, but very low frequency once a year for most people. So out of the zone. Or think about maybe a game you downloaded that sends you lots of notifications, high frequency attempts, but it's just not very fun or rewarding. Low utility. You'll probably uninstall it pretty quickly. Also out of the zone.
So if you're designing something, you need to ask, does this solve a problem that people face often, and does it solve it well?
Exactly. That's the sweet spot. If your problem only occurs rarely, you'll suggest you might need to find ways to connect your solution to more frequent related micro behaviors or significantly increase the perceived utility to compensate.
Yeah.
But generally, high frequency and high utility is where habits thrive. Hashtag B ethics and the manipulation matrix.
Right, that makes sense for if you can build a habit. But then there's the should you question. This hook model sounds incredibly powerful, maybe even manipulative.
It absolutely can be. And Eyal confronts this directly. He stresses that with this power comes a significant ethical responsibility. You're influencing behavior, potentially in profound ways.
So how do you navigate that? How do you know if you're helping or harming?
He offers a tool for self-reflection called the manipulation matrix. It helps designers evaluate their own intentions by asking two core questions about their product.
Okay, what are the questions?
First, does this product materially improve the user's life? Do you genuinely believe it makes things better for them? And second, do I, the creator, use this product myself? Do you eat your own dog food, so to speak?
Interesting. So how you answer those two questions places you in the matrix.
Exactly. It creates 4 quadrants, 4 types of creators. The ideal, according to Eyal, is the facilitator. This is someone who uses the product and believes it genuinely improves users' lives. They're using the hook model to help people build habits they actually want, like exercising more with a fitness app or learning with an education app.
Okay, that sounds like the ethical goal. What's the opposite?
The opposite, and the clearly unethical space, is the hustler. This person doesn't use their own product, and they don't believe it actually improves users' lives. They're basically building addictive loops solely for their own gain, maybe maximizing ad views or selling data by exploiting psychological weaknesses. Pure manipulation.
Right. That's the danger zone. Are there other types?
Yes, 2 others that are more nuanced. There's the peddler. They use the product themselves, but they don't really believe it improves the lives of others. Maybe it's a niche entertainment product or something seen as a guilty pleasure. They enjoy it, but wouldn't claim it's making the world better.
Okay. And the last one?
The last is the dealer. This person believes the product improves lives, but they don't use it themselves. Eyal gives the example of someone selling addiction recovery programs who has never been an addict. They believe in the value, but don't have the personal experience.
So this matrix, it's really a self-check tool to force you to examine your motives.
That's exactly its power. It pushes designers to be honest with themselves. Are you building features because they genuinely help users achieve their goals? Or are you just trying to hijack their attention for profit using variable rewards to create compulsion without real value? If it's the latter, you've slipped into that hustler category.
So the ethical use of the hook is about building habits for the user's benefit, not just on the user.
Precisely. Eyal uses an analogy here too. Designing habits without ethics is like breeding animals in a cage without proper ventilation. You might keep them contained, but you can't expect them to thrive. You need to prioritize the user's well-being and autonomy.
Okay, this is all really insightful. We've got the hook model, TAVI, the habit zone for context, and the manipulation matrix for ethics. But how does someone actually apply all this? How do you turn the theory into practice when you're building or improving a product?
Right, the practical application. Eyal doesn't just leave it at theory. He emphasizes combining these models with a process he calls habit testing.
Habit testing, what's that involve?
It's essentially a data-driven approach. First, you identify who your current habitual users are, the ones already using the product frequently and consistently. Then, you analyze their behavior very closely. What specific path, what sequence of actions did they follow to become hooked? You try to codify that successful loop.
So you work backward from the users who are already engaged.
Exactly. And then the third step is to iterate on your product design. You make changes specifically aimed at guiding more new users down that same proven path towards habitual use. It's about making the successful loop more discoverable and easier to follow for everyone.
It sounds quite scientific, actually.
It is, or at least it aims to be. Less guesswork, more measuring and refining based on real user behavior. Hashtag tag 10 practical takeaways, the actionable checklist.
So based on all this, the model, the testing, the ethics, can we boil it down into some key actions, like a checklist someone could use?
Yeah, absolutely. We can synthesize Eyal's advice into about 10 practical steps. Think of this as your operational guide.
Step 1, map internal triggers. Okay, we talked about this. Don't just think about notifications. Really dig deep. Do the user research. What's the underlying emotion, the situation, the routine that makes someone reach for your product? What itch are you scratching?
Step 2, simplify the action. This is about maximizing ability from Fogg's model. Be ruthless about cutting friction. Look at every single click, every screen. Can it be faster, clearer, fewer steps? Make the core action ridiculously easy to perform when that trigger hits.
Step 3, design variable rewards. Make sure the payoff isn't predictable. Mix it up. Use those 3 types, tribe, hunt, self. Keep the user curious. What will they discover this time? That anticipation is key. Step 4, encourage investment. Actively prompt users to put something back into the system. Ask them to personalize their profile, rate content, invite friends, save items, follow topics. These actions should build that stored value and make the product stickier.
Step 5, check the habit zone. Be honest. Does your product solve a real problem that occurs frequently enough? And does it solve it well? High utility. If you're weak on frequency or utility, you need a strategy to improve that, or except you might not build a strong habit.
Step 6, use the manipulation matrix. Seriously, use it. Before launching a new feature designed to increase engagement, run it through those ethical questions. Is this genuinely helpful or just manipulative? Be your own harshest critic here. Redesign if it feels exploitative.
Step 7, test your loops. Don't just build it and hope. Set up analytics. Track how many users complete the full TAVI loop. Measure retention after key investment steps. Use data to see if your behavioral design is actually working, and iterate based on what you learn. Step 8, learn from others. Look at successful habit-forming products out there, especially in related fields. Reverse engineer their hooks. Eyal mentions Pinterest, the Bible app. Study how they implement triggers, actions, rewards, and investments. Don't reinvent the wheel entirely.
Step 9, educate your team. This can't just live with the designers. Everyone, product managers, engineers, marketers, needs to understand the principles of habit formation. It should influence the entire product strategy and roadmap.
And finally, step 10, respect user autonomy. Remember, the goal is engagement through value, not through coercion. If users feel tricked or trapped, they'll eventually burn out and leave. Build trust. Focus on genuinely helping them. Long-term success depends on it. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up, this look into Hooked really makes it clear, doesn't it? The difference between a product that just has some cool features and one that becomes indispensable, part of our daily lives. It's often not luck, it's engineered.
Yeah, it's designed, often very deliberately, using this kind of 4-step psychological loop. Understanding that is, well, it's a huge advantage in today's world where attention is the scarcest resource.
It allows companies to move away from just shouting louder with ads, towards building something that pulls users back naturally from within.
Exactly. So maybe we can quickly recap the absolute core takeaways for everyone listening.
Good idea. Let's try a quick top 5. First, remember the loop. Trigger, action, variable, reward, investment. That's the basic formula for habit.
Second, aim for the habit zone. Your product ideally needs to solve a frequent problem really well. High frequency plus high utility.
Third, use variable rewards. That unpredictability is what keeps people curious and engaged, tapping into that dopamine-driven seeking behavior.
Fourth, encourage investment. Get users to put time, data, or effort into your product. That builds stored value and makes them less likely to leave.
And fifth, maybe the most important, ethics matter. Use that manipulation matrix. Build something that genuinely helps users. Don't just manipulate them for engagement metrics. Be a facilitator, not a hustler.
Absolutely critical.
So the Hook model offers this blueprint, this insight, but it definitely comes with responsibility. Making that jump from just being used to being habitually used can be the difference between a product that launches and disappears and one that achieves lasting success.
Which leaves us with maybe one final thought for you, the listener. As you look at the products you use every day, or perhaps the ones you're involved in building, ask yourself, are you just seeing a collection of features? Or can you now recognize the subtle, powerful workings of a psychological hook in action? Are you helping users or just hooking them?
Something to really think about. Well, if you found this summary helpful and you want more actionable book summaries, more breakdowns of big ideas like this one, please do take a moment to subscribe to our channel, Book by Book.
Yeah, and liking this summary or sharing it with someone else who might find it useful, that really does motivate us to keep digging into these books and bring you the best summaries we can.
We genuinely appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in.